Welcome to Criminals Hate Me. It's the podcast that criminals don't want you to watch. On a fateful night back in September of 2023, a young man's life was tragically cut short. Noah Presgrove's autopsy shows many signs of being struck by a vehicle. But what type of vehicle was it? And who was behind the wheel? Today's video looks into the hit and run theory, where I examine the evidence and explore the most likely cause of his death. So you can't really look into the Noah Presgrove death without looking at the autopsy. So guys, if you haven't seen it, I really urge you to go to Google and just type in Noah Presgrove autopsy report, and you can read it for yourself. Anyone interested in this case should have already studied this autopsy up and down, inside and out, 100 times already. If you haven't, then this is the reason why there are so many rumors and conspiracy theories. Okay? When a person is hit by a vehicle, they can sustain a variety of injuries, depending on the speed of the vehicle, the point of impact, and the individual's physical condition. Now, we know that Noah was supposedly in great physical condition, so this may be why, if this was a hit and run, that police and all the web sleuths and the family and everyone else can't figure it out, because although he probably has injuries that are indicative of a hit and run, they may not be as severe as it would be on another person that wasn't in as good a shape as he was. So yes, his injuries were severe, but what I'm trying to say is they could have probably been even worse depending on the vehicle that possibly hit him. You know, we don't know. We weren't at the scene of the crime. You know, did he try to dodge out of the way, or, you know, just there's lots of possibilities. But here are some of the most common types of injuries that happens in hit and runs. You have traumatic brain injuries, skull fractures, organ damage, internal bleeding, bruises, cuts and scrapes, and whiplash. Now, if you've read the autopsy, all of those things sound very familiar, don't they? And like I said, if you haven't read it, go read it, because that's the first place you should have started. You shouldn't have started in the Noah Presgrove Facebook groups, because you're not going to learn anything there. You're going to learn more about this case by reading the autopsy and then using common sense, okay? So here's another thing that kind of supports the hit and run theory, okay? And like I say, this is just a theory, guys. I'm unbiased. I'm not saying this was a hit and run. I'm exploring every option, because everyone is saying that police quickly ruled out a hit and run, which I think that is very irresponsible if they have. You can't quickly rule out anything, okay? You can't just give it the eye test and rule it out. Okay, if that's what happened, then that's why this case isn't solved. And what a tragedy if that's what happened. If they didn't do accident reconstruction to actually prove stuff, then this is why the case isn't solved. Okay, now hit and runs tend to occur more frequently at night. Now, I know his happened in the morning, but it's very similar to nighttime conditions. Early morning, 5 a.m., it's still very dark. So whether it's 10 p.m. at night, midnight, 3 a.m., 5 a.m., the conditions are very similar. It's very dark, okay? You have reduced visibility. Darker conditions can make it more difficult to see pedestrians, other vehicles, or potential hazards. In the dark, you also have drivers that involve themselves with increased risk taking. Some drivers may be more likely to engage in risky behavior such as speeding or driving under the influence at night, in the dark, basically. At night, in the dark, you have lower traffic volume. Fewer cars on the road can create a false sense of security, leading to faster driving or less attention to surroundings. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would say about 80% of hit and runs happen in the dark. That's just a wild guess. There really is no data to back it up. But it could possibly be 90%. Okay? So when you take the autopsy and then you take the probability of a hit and run happening in the dark, it's a recipe for disaster. And it is highly, highly likely that that's what happened in this case. Okay? So while looking at that, what I want to do is I want to look at the possible vehicles that we know were involved in this case in some way or another, and I want to get your guys' thoughts of which vehicle do you guys think, after looking at the autopsy, is most likely to have caused all of the damage to Noah's body. You have a truck here with a front grill guard. I've mentioned these types of trucks many times. It turns an ordinary vehicle into like a tank, into like a weapon on wheels. Okay? You're not gonna hit something without causing a lot of damage with one of these vehicles. And a lot of you may know whose vehicle this is right here in this picture. I'm not gonna say the person's name, but if you have really studied this case properly, and if you have looked at all the leads properly, you're gonna know whose truck this is. Okay? So this is a certain person's truck that possibly was involved in this case. Okay? So do you think that this vehicle with this front grill guard could have hit Noah? Okay? Next, we have a semi. Was he hit by a semi? Okay? There were semis involved when 911 was called. Okay? A semi pulled over. Or actually, they called 911 and drove down the road and turned around and came back. Okay? So this is a possible scenario that could have happened with the hit and run. Was he hit by a huge semi truck? Could this type of truck cause all of the damage that is seen in Noah's autopsy? Next, we have a typical service truck. Okay? Could this type of truck caused all of the damage to Noah's body after reading the autopsy? Okay? Then you have the side-by-side Ranger, the utility vehicle. Could this thing have caused the damage to Noah's body? And then, due to Caden's recent interview that was released to OHP, we found out that there was another vehicle in the mix. A jacked up Ford Ranger that they were riding around in and shooting birds out of the sky and just acting like retards, you know, because it's fun, you know, just going crazy out there, driving around the wilderness out in Oklahoma, because there's nothing better to do than to shoot stuff and drink beer and drive around in jacked up trucks, you know, and then mess with underage girls. That's all they got going on in Oklahoma, I guess. But his interview revealed this vehicle right here. I don't know, you know, this is an example. I don't know what the color, the exact tires, how souped up it was, or how jacked up it was, but this is just a typical jacked up Ford Ranger, okay? Who knows what the real one looked like, but this is just an example, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, what? Okay, if you're using an open mind, that's all what I want you to do. A lot of you have already ruled out hit and run, and you don't want to believe a hit and run. But I want you to play the devil's advocate here today, and I want you to use common sense and logic and think really, really, really hard. Okay? Let's say that law enforcement finally comes out and says, this was a hit and run. Okay, let's just pretend that happens. Okay. If you had to bet a lot of money on what caused the hit and run, which of these vehicles would you put your money on? Would you put your money on a vehicle like this? A work truck? Maybe like a ranch truck or whatever you want to call it, with a grill guard? Would you put your money on a semi truck? How about a service truck? Could that have been the truck that hit Noah? Or was it the UTV Ranger that they talk about, where there was supposedly some type of accident? Could this thing have caused all of that damage to Noah's body? Or how about this, the Ford Ranger that's jacked up? Could this have caused it? We have all these possibilities, guys. Just have an open mind. Think about it long and hard. Use logic, common sense. Try to match up the injuries from the autopsy to these types of vehicles and see which one do you really think hit Noah. Okay, I have my suspicions. Okay, in my opinion, there's only really one or two of these that could have caused it. Okay, so what do you guys think? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.